Alright, so we have one new patch for TFT before we jump out into set, what are we on now? 5.5? So this will be the last patch we see for this rotation of units, items, etc., etc. So let's go ahead and start through. As you can see, pretty small patch. But let's go through some of the details. As last time, they're switching to this large change, small change format for displaying the patches. So we'll go ahead and start. Legionnaire. Legionnaire is getting a small buff at, this should be 4 and 6. It's 2, 4, 6, 8. Yeah, and another small one at 8 as well. Legionnaire, I don't think ever really became something that you just played linearly. So it's mostly played as like a 2 spot because this is a pretty decent buff at running 2. I'm curious to see if this change gets more at 4, but it's pretty clear the idea is to get more at 6. We'll see how that works out. I don't think it's going to make that big a difference on it, in my opinion. Dragus is a god frontline. If you get a 2-star Dragus, that's like free win streak because it's one of the most impossible units to kill, especially if you get a good item on him. Same thing with Warwick. They're just like almost, you just can't kill them in the early game. So they're reducing the damage reduction. I'm really surprised it took this long to happen. That said, it's not a big damage reduction, especially at 2-star where it probably really needed to go further. So I'm not expecting this to change that much. At tier 2 set, so when they blew up set, they kind of just took him out of the game. And I think that was kind of expected, that it was just going to kind of throw him out of the game. So they're trying to give a little more power to him, give him an extra 50 health, and increase the power of his Haymaker at 1-star and 2-star. These are both pretty minor. The 50 health probably means more than anything else. So I think you'll probably see him a bit more in Brawler openers, but that's about it. Tier 5 champions. Okay, Garen is kind of... So the problem with Garen is Garen in specific comps will often like rocket ship that comp into greatness, mostly karma comps, and that's pretty much because he just rends everything. So they want him to kind of like be a little less utility and be a little more like useful, but that's doesn't sound like that's going to be happening in this particular set, so we won't see that until the next set. So in return, they're going to bring him down a notch because of how much karma comps kind of spike when you get your Garen in play. Probably a little meaningful, but I think other comps are just so much stronger than karma. Not that karma's a bad comp. This karma is very item dependent. You kind of need to find Garen. There's a lot going on in the karma comp that this one little lever I don't think will be a major change, but it is kind of important because this is what it peaks out at. This is what the comp tries to get to. Volibear. So the issue with Volibear is there's not a lot of difference between Volibear 1 and Volibear 2. So they buffed Volibear 2 and Volibear 3 damage because it's Volibear 3. To be honest, I don't think Volibear really needed it too much. I think the problem with Volibear is that he's a little too reliant on Revenant in order to get a cast or multiple casts off. I had a game a while back where I played against a guy who had a Hellion spat on a Volibear 2, so I had to kill that thing 4 times. Yeah, he ulted a whole bunch of times and really messed up my comp and totally won that dude the game. But the stun increase was probably necessary. I don't know if the damage increase was really that necessary, but I don't think it'll matter too much. Volibear's still going to do Volibear things. It's just his ult is going to be a little more impactful into the game if you get him at 2-star, which is fine, I think. You get a 2-star Volibear, it should be good. Smaller changes. Forgotten... Forgotten 9 can get a little out of control. It's been a while since I've actually seen anyone do it, but it can get it spikes a little too hard at times, but yeah. Scrims, yeah, Scrim 9 is a little weak. It's Chase. It's not going to change much. If you get Scrim 9, have fun. Spellweaver. So no one's really playing Spellweaver that much anymore. It's more Invoker comps. I think the two kind of just overlap too much. And I think we're going to see the same thing in the next set with Cannoneer and Ranger, is that those two particular traits are just kind of infringing on each other's space a bit too much. So, to get more Spellweaver, updating the AP boost on Spellweaver. I would like to see Cavalier Spellweaver come back. I just don't know if this is enough to do that. Brand getting a little extra health. Yeah, he kind of does need it. He gets shot down pretty easy and is pretty useful. Tier 3 champions. Nocturne is getting an extra 50 health. Thank God. I always thought Nocturne's health was too low. This is actually a really good change. Assassin is like a high B tier comp, maybe mid B tier comp. And Nocturne is pretty key to playing that comp since they nerfed Katarina. Yasuo, they're just nerfing 3-star Yasuo, which is fine. The numbers on 3-star Yasuo are really, really high, and kind of one of the things of this particular set is that battles go forever, especially in the end game, compared to like previous sets where battles were just kind of something ulted and everything died. In this set, combat lasts a lot longer, so Yasuo being able to ramp up to these stats with these particular stats can get a little obnoxious at times. So in order to make a lot of those, because there's very few comps that are just going to run over. Most of them are just going to try to out-attrition you. So they take really long to play out. Whereas this just ramps up to the point that it runs over you at some point if you're like playing that kind of slow comp. So it's toned down a little. It won't make a big impact, but because you should be rewarded for hitting Yasuo 3 in a lobby. But this won't heavily impact the comp, I think. Just kind of brings it down a little. Zyra. So Zyra was getting a lot of play lately on certain servers. I think the EU server was pretty popular to play Zyra 3. And just the number between here to here was too high. I should highlight here to here. That was a bit too high. That's a bit too much damage for something that's mostly supposed to be utility. And Zyra is also very easy to 3-star because she's Draconic. Ivern, minus 50 health. Daisy actually getting an increase. No, a decrease in health. Okay, that makes sense. I was like, really? I'm getting an increase? Yeah, Ivern is a little messy because of Revenant. Revenant really makes a mess of some things. It's kind of one of the things that makes battles take forever is Revenant. Especially since Revenant's pretty easy to proc since you'll need 2 units. So, just tone it down. I mean, Ivern's like been the best no-item champion this set. Like, for this entire set. Just give him no items, put in a bland Ivern, and it's just awesome unit. So, seeing it toned down, not too surprising. Rel, Jesus Christ, how long has this taken? Rel is probably the best 4 cost in the game. Probably. Just kind of, like, you throw her into any comp and she's good. So, and the ult is pretty useful. So, to see a slight nerf here is not only not very surprising, but also, yeah, kind of needed. Tier 5 champions, Darius, the scaling on the wolves is this even a thing? Oh, the 1-star. Yeah, the 1-star needed a buff. Yeah, 1-star Darius doesn't feel like he does anything. So this hopefully will make the 1-star Darius more useful than whatever 2-star Nightbringer you had in the comp before. Yeah, I understand this one. Yeah, they really did need to buff this because Darius is like, it's not that Darius is bad. It's just that he he's not very impactful in a battle, which is a little disheartening. Viego, Viego 1 does a bit too... Like, Viego's an interesting champion. Viego either completely turns to battle or is a worthless slot of a unit, because he'll do his ult, and he'll either die in the middle of his ult, and his ult didn't do anything, or he takes it over a unit, and you just get a free win because you took over a unit. And the problem with that is that makes Viego 1 too good. When a single unit can turn the tide of a battle, it usually means the 1-star variant is a bit too strong of that unit. I do worry that this particular change could just like make Viego kind of useless until you get him up to 2-star. But we'll see. I often think Viego just needs an item to be useful. Like if you itemize Viego, he's pretty useful. But it's important to like make sure he actually gets a unit with his ult, because if he doesn't, he is entirely useless. A couple of minor changes. The GV8 complained, so they did it. Items now appear at the end game screen. I also know a lot of the tournament organizers and the observers will be like quite pleased with this, because it gives them a nice snapshot picture they can take of this is what happened this game. This is what everyone made and everyone has. Pretty useful. Yeah, we could always use more tooltips. I think the next big one is getting tooltips on items that are on the carousel. That's kind of been a problem for me this set, is when there's like a shadow spat and I have no idea what shadow spats make. I barely remember what spats make. So trying to remember shadow spats just does not happen for me. Don't even talk about the mobile corner. You play mobile, be happy. Hyper roll changes. I'm not too familiar with some of the issues that are going on in hyper roll, so I don't know like where the break points are that cause people problems in hyper roll if you're trying to go up in rank in hyper roll. I know what they are in ranked. There's a pretty good bar in like plat. There's a pretty big bar in diamond. Yeah, high plat is usually the elo I end up sitting at wondering, is this wall even breakable? But yeah, most people know where the barriers are in ranked. I don't really know where they are in hyper roll. Oh, they're not going to do a hard reset. Huh. But anyone in blue or higher will go to the bottom of blue. That's interesting. They're not going to do a hard reset. Wonder why. Anyway, that's it. The only major bug fix I think we need to talk about is... Let me see if I can find it in here. Kalista. Kalista auto attack has been fixed. You can play Kalista now, guys. I know, like, every other game there is somebody pinging a Kalista that's not auto attacking. It's been fixed. So that's it for this patch. I'm going to do another video because I think I'll start playing the PBE for 5.5 this weekend. So I'll try to have another video next week on what kind of my thoughts on 5.5 are, and kind of a closeout of set 5, in my opinion. Kind of early thoughts on it. I think it's kind of been one of the weaker, or I shouldn't say one of the weaker, but one of the lesser sets that we've had in TFT. I think it was a bit too complicated for too many people. But anyway, that's it. I'm off to play with some of my bros, so I'll see you next time. Peace.